Lesson 14, Evaluation, Solving Equations by Inspection. So evaluating and solving equations. Some vocabulary words. A constant is always any number in any equation. So it always stays the same. A 2 is always the value of a 2. That never changes. A variable is a letter of an unknown number. The value does change depending on what the equation is going to be. So 5 plus x equals 6, the x can only be one answer. But there could be an x in a different equation, and that could be a different value. So steps of solving. So you want to substitute the numbers from the problem for the variables in the equation. And then you get the variable by itself by using the opposite operation. So you can see in the box, solving for x, 3x plus 2 equals 14. To solve this one, you want us to do the opposite. So they're subtracting 2 on both sides. So you always start with the one that does not have the variable with it. And so they did 14 minus 2 on one side. So now you have 3x equals 12. Your last step is going to be divide by 3 on both sides to get x by itself. So x can only equal 4. So your first step is always going to be add or subtract. Your last step is going to be either multiply or divide. So let's take a look at an example. A formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Find the P when L is 15 centimeters and W is 12 centimeters. So here we're just substituting the numbers in for the variable. So we have defined the perimeter when the length is 15 and the width is 12. So we do order of operations, multiplication first. So 2 times 15 is 30. 2 times 2 times 12 is 24. If you add them together, you get a perimeter of 54 centimeters. Next one, a formula for the area of a parallelogram is A equals B times H, B for the base, H for the height. Find the area of the parallelogram with a base of 12 inches and a height of 4 inches. I usually start off with my formula, A equals BH, and I substitute my numbers in. I need to find the area when the base is 12 and the height is 4. 12 times 4 gives you 48, so you'd have an area of 48 inches. Next one, in the expression for AC, what is the constant? Remember, constants are all numbers. The value does not change. So in this case, the constant would be 4. Next one, evaluate for AC. For A is 1 and C is 12. So I substitute for A, 1, and for C, 12. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. Next one, if a taxi company charges $2 flat fee plus $3 per mile, then the cost C in dollars of a taxi ride is shown by this formula. 3M plus 2 equals C. Suppose that the cost of the taxi ride is $20. Find the length of the taxi ride by solving the equation 3M plus 2 equals C. So we need to find out how many miles, we're solving for M, when the cost is $20. So I substitute 20 in for C. And now we just need to simplify this. So our first step is we need to get the 3M by itself. So the opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2. When I do that, I get 3M equals 18. To get M by itself, the opposite of multiplying by 3 is dividing by 3. And whatever you do on one side, you must also do on the other side of the equal sign. So the number of miles would be 6. And the next one, admission to the county fair is $3. Each ride costs $2. Nate has $15. Solve the following equation to find how many rides he can take. We have 2r plus 3 equals 15. I need to get the 2r by itself, so the opposite of adding 3 is subtracting 3. So I do that on both sides, and I get 2r equals 12. Get r by itself, divide by 2 on both sides. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so all I have is r. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So they can go on 6 rides. And the final, practice these problems. Now I know you could figure out what do you add to the number or subtract to the number to get your answer. I want you to focus in on using the golden rule of algebra, which means whatever you do on one side to get the variable by itself, do on the other side of the equal sign. This will make it a lot easier when you do get to algebra class. So w plus 5 equals 16. To find out what w equals, I subtract 5 on both sides. W would have to equal 11. Next one, to get m by itself, I add 6 to both sides. M would equal 12. To get n by itself, here I'm going to subtract 25. If I subtract 25, right now I have negative n equals a negative 14. But my n is not by itself. I have to divide this by a negative 1. Negative 1 divided by a negative 1 is just n. Divide this by a negative 1, n would equal 14. And I can always check my answer. 25 minus 14 is 11. Next one, 20 equals 3f minus 1. To get 3f by itself, I add 1 to both sides, and I have 21 equals 3f. To get f by itself, divide by 3. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. So f would have to equal 7. The other side, b divided by 4 equals 8. I need to multiply by 4 to get d by itself. So the opposite division is multiplication. 4 divided by 4 is 1, so now I have is d. But whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8. Next one, we don't want z, our variable, in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply this by z. Do that on both sides. So now I have 12 equals 6z. Now I get z by itself, divide by 6. Z would equal 2. Because 12 divided by 6 would be 2. Next problem, 5 times x equals 30. To get x by itself, divide by 5. Do that on both sides. X would equal 6. And the last problem, 2a minus 1 equals 9. I add 1 to both sides to get the variable by itself. So I have 2a equals 10. To get the variable completely by itself, divide by 2 on both sides. A would equal